Hello again, and welcome to part 8 of my journey along the World Heritage Site of Hadrian's Wall from one end, Bowness and Solway in Cumbria, to my hometown of Wallsend on the mouth of the River Tyne via Northumberland. My name is Brian James, that Micro Four Thirds guy. I'm a professional photographer and entertainer who now lives near Carlisle. If you've not done so already, then can I ask you to look below and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get notifications of all my future videos. Plus, if you enjoy it, please give the video a thumbs up to get your YouTube to spread it to far more people to see. There's also a PayPal link below if you'd like to leave a donation for a coffee. I left you last time at Sycamore Gap, or actually just short of Sycamore Gap, as the terrain on my tired old frame didn't really get on too well, so I admitted defeat. I wonder if there's any way to actually photograph the famous shot without having to be really up close and personal, so to speak. Luckily, there was a lower roadway which I approached from the east rather than the west. This got me a couple of hundred metres away, which was enough to get my final shot. The camera of choice for today is my Olympus OM-D E-M1, or as I now call it, my EM1 Classic. Well, why not the original Canon 5D is referred to as a classic, so why not the Olympus? Although it's now an 8-year-old design and has been superseded twice, I still love it and will happily use it as my go-to camera. Yes, it's only got a 16 megapixel sensor, but the results are still superb, and with its magnesium weatherproof body it's ideal for rugged excursions like this. Yes, video is lacking, but for a still shooter they are excellent value on the used market. Anyway, back to the wall. The gap takes us past Mylcastle 39, then past the small lake at Craglough. Today I'm trying to find other interesting items apart from the wall itself, and I'm taken by this fascinating ruined farm cottage just off the roadside. I love old buildings such as this. Was it a house, a barn, or something else? If it were a home, then what were the people and their lives like? Many of these buildings were a combination of both home and workplace, or it could have been both. It also highlights the contrast between what was obviously hard living, yet the beauty of the surroundings. Now, I'm following the old Roman road, which is now the B6138, beautifully straight but very, very undulating, with several severe dip warnings along its route. As a child, my father would drive super fast, or at least as fast as 1960s cars would go, through the dips, and I'd get that stomach churning feeling like being on a roller coaster. I've always loved those rides ever since. Now, if you remember back in episode 6 when I visited Birdoswald, I told you about the Vallum, the series of ditches adding to the defensive line on the south side of the wall. Well, I'm just approaching Mylcastle 33 and the wall comes to meet the modern road. This means that looking back to the west, we can clearly see the lines of the Vallum on the south side with the wall's path just on the north. The Vallum clearly being seen almost 2,000 years after it was originally dug. Just after these photos were taken, I was passed by a local Hadrian's Wall bus service, and it's appropriately numbered the AD122 service. Someone's got a sense of humour. Now, I must at this point give mention to the wonderful supporters I have in the countries other than the UK, many of whom have given support through the PayPal link below to help make these videos. I find it amazing that there is such interest in the area I grew up in from so far away. I really shouldn't be surprised, though it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site after all. But whatever, thanks for watching one and all, I appreciate it. I passed the fort at Housesteads, but on this occasion I decided not to go in. The sights are wonderful, but the bright sunny day has pulled the tourists out, and I have already decided to look for the less commercial areas on this leg. We saw a lot of the ruins in the previous video at Vindolanda anyway. No, there are two places I've pinpointed on the map that I want to visit first. And the first of those two is the temple of Brocolicia. Before I got to the temple, I again saw an abandoned building up on the hill and was well on my way to it when I looked into the long grass on my path ahead and saw it. An adder. It's rare to see these snakes, the only venomous snake indigenous to the UK, and on my wall journey I've seen two now. They really don't want to bother humans, but if disturbed will give a venomous bite. I had no intention of antagonising the little fellow with his distinctive black diamond zigzag, and I decided, discretion being the better part of valour, I'd make a retreat back to the path and leave him be. I headed down to the temple and was not expecting what I saw. A stunning site with lots of preserved detail, including its altar area, and even better, not too many people around. A real hidden treasure, and fascinating too. It was clear to see the outer chamber, which led into the main temple. Brocolicia, or the Temple of Matheras, is dedicated to the god beloved by Roman soldiers. It was the largest of such buildings to occupy the site. Like many Matheric temples, it was situated near a military base. Strangely, the Roman name Brocolicia was probably based on the original Celtic name for the area, meaning badger holes. Toward the road as I returned to the car, see a few remains of the sacred well dedicated to the Celtic water goddess Coventina. Back on the road to the second place I had on the map, Black Cart's Turret, number 29A. The wall and the road turned from an easterly direction to a southeasterly one just as we approached the ruins. Unlike many of the other restored ruins, this one is a jumble of huge rocks fallen into the vallum. At this point, I can walk down into the ditch where my 6-foot frame is lost against the 8 to 10 foot high walls of the trench. The turret itself, though, is a well-preserved area at the end of a large, high piece of the wall. As we saw at Vindolanda, the turrets were 2 to 3 stories high and an integral part of the wall itself, with doorways out onto the ramparts along the wall's upper surface. The day was hot, very hot, and so I headed off for my journey's end for the day at Chollerford, passing the fort at Chesters on the way. Chollerford is a lovely little village where the road crosses the River North Tyne via a stone-built narrow bridge. A wander over the bridge gave some stunning views of the river, and the little we are as it heads southeast to meet up with its sister, the South Tyne, at Warden, then flowing down to Newcastle and on to Wall's End, our final destination, and then out into the sea at Tynemouth. Just by the bridge there is a hotel on one side of the road and a little cafe on the other. Just what I needed. Now, in my humble opinion, my wife makes the best quiche bar none. But I spied a selection of quiches which made my mouth moisten. A cup of coffee and a slice of caramelised onion and sausage quiche was soon served up, and it pains me to say it, it was on par with my wife's. Now that's very high praise indeed. So a big shout out to the ladies at the Riverside Kitchen in Chollerford. So now I'm only 21 miles away from Newcastle, but still lots and lots to see. How much of the actual wall will be remaining as we enter the industrial heartlands of the northeast of England, with its history of coal mining, railways, shipbuilding and weapons manufacture? Well, you'll have to watch for the next episode to find out, won't you? Now, as usual, if you've enjoyed this video, then can I ask you to do a simple task for me? Below the video you'll see a subscribe link. Please click on it to see more of my videos, and if you click on the bell symbol beside it, you'll receive notifications whenever I post something new. Even better, if you click on the thumbs up to like this video, it tells YouTube to promote it to more and more people, so they'll get the opportunity to see some of the north of England and South Scotland's amazing heritage through the eyes of a local photographer. Better still, it costs you nothing more than a couple of seconds to do it, which means so much to me. Thanks for watching.